time we spoke, we talked about communication skills. The ability to communicate with your dog at a level your dog both understands and enjoys. Because it's simple. If you can't communicate with your dog, you're never going to be in control of your dog's behaviour, which means you're not going to be able to get it to do the things you want it to do, and perhaps more importantly, you're not going to be able to stop it doing the things that it wants to do. So communication is key. Once we've established communication or a dialogue with the dog, then you can start to teach the dog a few simple skills, a few simple tricks, a few simple maneuvers to start to get the dog to pay attention. Because it's only when the dog is paying attention to you that you are in control of the dog's behavior. So what we're going to do now is going to run Indy through a few very simple controls that we use on a daily basis to make sure he's engaging with me and paying attention.
The system I use when I'm training a dog is marker training. Some of you may recognize this as clicker training. Although I personally don't use a clicker, I simply use verbal markers. The markers I use and the process I teach at the school uses 3 verbal markers. When I ask a dog to do something, sit for example, I'll ask the dog to sit. If the dog sits, I'll say yes and immediately give the dog a food reward. This process conditions the dog to understand that when I say yes, the dog has completed an action to my satisfaction, and for that the dog will gain a food reward. The process of presenting the food reward also releases the dog from the behaviour. So yes has 3 meanings. Yes means that's exactly what I want you to do. Yes means there is food coming. Yes means you can now stop doing it. By releasing the dog quickly from the desired action with a food reward, it has the effect of producing a quicker response from the dog. For this process to work, we have to apply a consequence to the behaviour. And for a correct response, we apply a positive consequence, which is food. The second marker I use is the word no. When I ask the dog to do something, again sit for example, I'll ask the dog to sit. If the dog doesn't sit, I'll say no and disengage from the dog. I condition the dog to understand when I say no, the dog has not performed the action to my satisfaction and there will be no food reward. No also has 3 meanings. No means that's not what I want you to do. No means there is no food available for that action. And no means we'll continue to do this until the dog gets it right. Again, for this process to work, we have to apply a consequence to the behaviour. And for an incorrect response, we apply a negative consequence, which is the verbal marker no, which means there is no food available and we're going to try it again. The third verbal marker I use is the word good. This means that the action is exactly what I want the dog to do and the dog needs to continue to do it. So, if I ask the dog to sit and the dog sits, I will say good and present regular food rewards whilst the dog remains in the sit position. This is what I call a continuity marker. This means I want the dog to continue doing what it's doing. Good also has 3 meanings. Good means that is exactly what I want you to do. Good means there is food available for the action. And good means if you continue to do what I've asked you to do, the food will continue to be available. By using this 3-word process, we can begin to teach the dog that they can be in charge of the consequences surrounding their behaviour. Positive behaviour will bring about a positive consequence. Yes means food. Negative behaviour will bring about a negative consequence. No means no food. We'll try that again. What dog owners must understand is that a negative consequence doesn't mean physical abuse. My negative consequence is a non-contact method of teaching your dog that that particular action is not what I wanted. This system of marker training is not new or revolutionary. The process of training dogs with markers has been around for about 100 years. As far as I understand it, this system of training was first recognized in the 1920s by American gun dog trainers using a small device known as a cricket, the term being changed to the more familiar term clicker in later years. If you'd like to learn more about the benefits of marker training, please contact the school for course availability.